Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your mid-March 2020 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. It's funny. I'm laughing being a Sagittarian myself and seeing some of these cards because I think some of us can relate a little bit to this. Pick an additional card. I love it. Well, the first thing that jumps out at me is that there's at least three Pentacles cards here, as well as the Tower. And so this could be, if you're somebody who is a Sagittarian, as I am, and maybe you've been concerned about your finances, whether you can support yourself. These cards seem to kind of go along with that. And I think that what they tell me is that you need to get clear on some things. And it may not be anything even practical. It might be something, you know how they say you have to clear something in your vibration. It sounds very kind of like hippy-dippy-ish, but it's really about something else that's going on that's showing up in the physical. And talking about it from an astrological standpoint, we did have a lunar eclipse in Cancer, and this was back in January, but the eclipses can show up for people even 6 months down the line. And it was in a money house. It was in the 8th house, which has to do with other people's money, or like, shared resources. So if you're with someone else, maybe they lost their income, they retired, or something along those lines, and so it totally rearranged the combined family income. And maybe you felt like everything fell on you, and then that created its own set of stress. So I'm going to put this to the side here. Let's just see the individual cards. So the heart of the matter is the Nine of Pentacles, so this is the focus, which is about financial independence. Or if you are with somebody else, if you have to be the one that kind of bears the brunt of things, that feeling of, can I either stand on my own 2 feet, so if there are other problems with the relationship, that might be a big thing where you feel stuck, that you can't support yourself, or even like a work situation. Because when I look at the Tower, I mean, this could be like losing your job and you never saw it coming, and then you have to kind of scramble. Okay, I don't have savings, I don't have anything, what am I going to do? And like I said, the Tower, whether it's you or whether your partner was something that you were counting on with him or her, and that didn't come through, that sense of like, okay, how do we make this happen? And it might have felt very hectic. Now, by the way, this might have been in January or even last December. It doesn't have to be something that is happening in March. But something that has kind of been plaguing you for the last few months even. And the higher message is the Two of Pentacles, which to me in this context and remember, this is the spiritual message, so it's not just the mundane interpretation, but like the mundane interpretation, meaning that perhaps you have two jobs, the point to me of that card is to be, looking at, I think there's like a certain flexibility of mind. So, in other words, some people have it really locked into their heads that there are only certain things they can do, and they can't really think too far out. And some of these crisis situations, if you really get past the fear that is triggered, you could have like this amazing idea, and that could be something that helps your life in general that you would have never had if you had just kind of been secure in your finances, and you were just going along, kind of going through the motions in your life. But sometimes when a person's back is up against the wall, that's when they have the best kinds of ideas, because it's almost like they have nothing left to lose. What crosses you is the Six of Swords, so relocating, may have been something that you wanted to do and you feel like you're being stuck, that you're stuck right now. Maybe you don't have the finances to leave, and for Sag, this can feel especially uncomfortable because that feeling of freedom. But it's very interesting. One of the things that I have noticed is that people will use certain situations as an excuse not to do something, when in fact, if they were really wanting to do something, they would have done it when they had the money to do it. So they kind of it's just kind of interesting to me how this tends to play out, because I think that there's a lot more making excuses than anything else. And the thing that you have to realize too is that there's your will, how they say my will and thy will, and I do remind myself of that. If there's things that I feel like I have to do, and yet I'm not able to do them because, like in this case, not having the money, or not having the time in my schedule to do certain things, I have to be willing to surrender to that without feeling a negative emotion about it. And that's sometimes challenging. But also, it almost seems to me like with the Six of Swords that you might have been tempted to escape a situation. If this is like a relationship issue, and the Tower card is something that you found out about your partner that makes you want to leave, you still may have a part of yourself that refuses to do so. And I'm not here to tell you whether or not that's foolish, but it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to stay in the sense of limbo, because you might, with the Nine of Pentacles, perhaps you do have what it takes to leave, but you refuse to. There's always that possibility as well. And you have to ask yourself why. And even with the Two of Pentacles, the more mundane interpretation too can sometimes be that the person has a job offer, maybe a couple of job offers, And one of them may be far away, and that may be a reason why they are not that excited about leaving. What's coming in is represented by the Ace of Swords. This is what I was talking about at the beginning. I said gaining clarity on your situation, and that allows you to move forward. Aces being beginnings of something, but there may be, I think with the Two of Pentacles, you may be of two minds when you're trying to make a decision about something. And actually, the first card as I got as an outcome, I picked an additional card because I think this is kind of what's going on as well. The outcome card, the Three of Swords, feeling a sense of rejection. And this may be permeating this situation in general, where anything that we're talking about here, whether we're talking about, let's say you have your own business and you haven't been getting the same income from it that you normally do, there's a tendency to feel like the Three of Swords, feel unwanted, feel rejected by others, that they don't want what you have to offer. And I think with the Two of Pentacles, part of that is diversifying, maybe introducing new things that you offer, and also, you know, looking at it from the standpoint of the Three of Swords is, do you carry yourself like that? Do you carry yourself like somebody who is unwanted? And is this a script? Is this something that has kind of like followed you all your life? So if the Tower card represents a relationship issue, a shocking revelation, discovery, and that has triggered within you this sense of being unwanted, this sense of rejection, are you all too willing to embrace that idea of being unwanted? Is that something that kind of is your, they call it your script, that you come from a place where you just naturally assume that you are going to be rejected at some point? And that's the, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Or in the workplace, you know, or like I said, with your own business. It goes back to self-love, and we have to feed ourselves a lot of positive, what do they call those? I was going to say positive intentions, no. Affirmations, yeah, something like that. Affirm our worthiness. Worthiness to receive, worthiness to experience, and yeah, so then I did pick a clarifying card, Seven of Pentacles, the farmer waiting for his crops to come in. And this is a very hopeful card for anyone who has a business that perhaps you've been planting seeds. Maybe they were unintentional in a sense, where you were going along pretty well and you hit a major bump, and by re-examining things, maybe some people were taking things for granted, and that created that sense of, well, the universe showing you that you have to have gratitude at all times. You can't just suddenly believe that everything is, you know, I think Sagittarius tend to be overly optimistic as well, and I think you can be overly optimistic, or just kind of assume that everything is going to continue to be a certain way, instead of waking up with gratitude that you have all the blessings that you have, you know. And Yeah. So this is a very kind of like a grounded reading in a lot of ways, but I think with the Ace of Swords, it's about your mindset in moving forward. Okay, that's what I have for you, Sag. If you'd like a personal reading, the link is below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.